You know, even if you have plenty of room to grow what you want or need, making the most of any space is a smart way to get a lot of bang for your buck. But let's say that you only have room for a single container. Well, the good news is there are plants today that are bred for even small spaces like containers. So no matter what your space limitations, you can still have a garden. Now, when it's time to place your plants in your small space garden, look for that spot that gets the most sunlight per day. And I realize that may mean only an hour more a day, but over the course of the entire season, that can make a huge difference on the health and the productivity of all your plants. And then the container. Now, I like to get the biggest container that the space and my budget will allow, because in a small space, we want to take advantage of all the space, and a larger container means more plants. Now, one place I don't want you to skimp, and that's the soil. Now, soil that goes in a container is specially engineered for containers. It's extra light, so it's not going to weigh down the container or drown your plants. Plus, it holds a lot of moisture, and that's super important with containers because we water them so much, all those nutrients flush through. Which brings me to another point. A lot of those containers, mixes that you buy, have those nutrients built into it. So here's what you look for when you go buy the soil. It'll either say potting soil, container mix, or container soil. But the name will be obvious and it'll give it away, but that's what you buy. It's a little more expensive, but it's well worth it. And now the fun begins when you add the plants. But we don't want to add just any kind. Although there are a lot of plants that will thrive in containers, let's go with the ones that are ideally suited. In general, almost any kind of herb plants will do just fine. Most stay rather small, but even the taller ones like fennel or dill will work just fine. Just provide some support as they grow up. And speaking of growing up, as long as you have the proper support, the sky's the limit for even classic vegetables. Think of cucumbers, peas, pole beans, and even tomatoes. Okay. A little squash to trail over the edge, always a good thing. All right, so just be creative. Whatever works for you is good enough and it'll look great. With the right soil, a sunny spot, and constant watering, you're gonna have a very productive container garden. For help and suggestions ideally suited for containers in small spaces, be sure to check out burpeehomegardens.com.